haven't done a surrogacy video like this for a while, but I have done a surrogacy expenses video before. So do check out the description box, the drop bar thing down below, and it will have a link to that. And maybe I'll put the eye up if I manage to actually find time to put one in. So expenses, I thought I'd come back and not necessarily do it as in-depth, but just go over things because I received a lot of messages and comments that would be considered abusive to a lot of people from the last video. Now, a lot of them don't get shown because they involve a lot of swear words, which means they are instantly blocked, but I can read them. But yeah, someone did threaten to hunt me down and kill my kids in front of me because I said I used a cleaner at the end of my previous pregnancy. Seemed a little bit harsh. So I thought I'd just come in here and go over things a little bit again and open the dialogue for anyone to leave any questions down below if you have any questions or queries. But do remember that I'm not the be-all and end-all. Shock horror, one person on the internet doesn't necessarily know everything. I know this is a bit of a weird one because, you know, if the internet said it, it must be true. But I could be wrong. I am human. This is from my experience, but I have spent a lot of time talking to a lot of people in agencies or independent surrogacy, gestational surrogates versus traditional surrogates, gay couples versus straight couples. I spent a lot of time and a lot of energy, and I'm giving you a snapshot of the experience that I have got from actually being fully submerged in the surrogacy world in the UK for about 7 years now. I'm not just pulling information out of my butt. It is learnt, but it doesn't mean that it is right for everybody. Not everyone is going to fit in the box that I am producing for you here. And just bear that in mind, that I'm one person, but it is researched. Doesn't mean it's perfect. Nothing ever is. So just have that in your mind. Now, in the UK, it's altruistic surrogacy. Technically, I think you can claim compensation as long as you aren't profiting from surrogacy. It's a little bit squiffy. The law is a little bit grey in areas and it is hopefully being looked at. But basically the idea is, and most of us are altruistic surrogates. Now, this means we get expenses covered. So any costs we incur due to the pregnancy is covered. Maybe a small break afterwards, because what people forget, they're like, oh, it's not fair for you to have a holiday. Well, I'm not swanning off to Florida, much to my heartbreak, but I'm not. What people, before they get ranty, I see why you get a bit ranty, but you need to think about the fact that our whole lives go on hold for the best part of a year. Our children don't have the same mum that they are used to having, because I can't, you know, that you are exhausted or tired or sick. Husbands lose out on different things. Won't get into the graphics of that one. You can probably use your imagination. Your whole life does change to do this, and if all you get is a weekend at Butlins afterwards, I'm not entirely sure I understand why people begrudge that. It's not something I've actually done myself, but I've got no problem with people that do. I did actually put some money aside for a holiday, like weekend away in my last journey, but because I was so sick, it got absorbed in everything else, because I've never had a bad pregnancy before, so I never spent anywhere near as much as I did. And that is the thing you need to take into account, is that everyone is different. No one person can tell you what your expenses are if you're being a surrogate. No one can tell you what you should claim for, because it is very personal. I spent a long time, a lot of Googling, a lot of research to work out exactly what my expenses should be. And I realised that when, like, originally I did this, saying the average was, when I first did this, about £12,000 for a surrogate. And I totally respect, get and understand why people go, what? It did not cost me £12,000 to have a baby, because it may well not have, but it's different. It sounds like a cop-out, I realise, but it is different. But if I challenge anyone that's like, it did not cost me that much to have a baby, in a like disgruntled, disgusted sort of way, to the point that you want to call me rude names, sit down and write down everything you paid out for. Now I'm going to look over here because I've got my list here, but you put down if your loss of earnings, like every penny you missed out on because of your days off, your husband's days off. I know we get SMP and maternity allowance, but we don't have to have babies for other people. We don't have to help. We don't have to put our lives on hold. All we want to do is cover our wages. We're not making loads of money. No one that I know has ever made any money, but we shouldn't have to take that 10% or, you know, 60% pay or 90% pay, whatever one it works for you. We shouldn't have to take that pay drop to recover from having a baby for someone else. You know, we don't have to make the sacrifice. It doesn't make us bad people. If you think it is, if you think someone should put their whole life on hold, actually risk their lives, because surrogates have died, and do all of that and go out of pocket, then that's your choice. That is how you are more than welcome to feel that way, but that doesn't mean surrogates are going to agree with you. So just bear that in mind, that you are entitled to feel exactly how you feel, but that doesn't change how myself as a surrogate feels or how other surrogates would feel. And some surrogates don't even agree with me, obviously, because not everyone is the same. But loss of earnings, childcare, some people do claim for a cleaner. I will explain that a little bit more at the end. Hold on, calm your cheeks. Childcare, vitamins, medication. This is anything from like paracetamol to Gaviscon to thrush treatments to hemorrhoid treatments, creams for your skin, and all of that lot. Like, and I mean like the itchy one, because you get an itching because of the pregnancy. You can't claim all of these on the NHS, and they do add up quite quickly. Pregnancy aids such as support belts and pillows for when you can't sleep. Some people get like what was I putting other things down there, but it's totally gone. Clothes is a big one, because it is not just everyday clothes. You sometimes need smart clothes. You might need everyday clothes, work clothes, underwear, nightwear if you're not going to fit in any of that, and also a little bit for post-birth when you're in that in-between phase. You're not exactly going to fit in your normal clothes. All of that does add up. And shoes, like my feet blew up massively and I ended up buying a couple of pairs of wide fit shoes, literally just 2 pairs, because 1 pair wasn't enough, stupidly. But it does add up. Sit down and work it all out, put it all down, and then come back and look at your sums, and you'll maybe see what I'm saying. Pregnancy aids also, could involve sanitary wear. So you have got liners and towels and pads and or disposable knickers for some people. Food, convenience food is another one I'm going to explain at the end, but you do get a bit of a budget for food, which can be, as I said, convenience, healthy eatings, cravings, stuff like that. Hospital bag, travel. Now this can be fuel, wear and tear on your car if you're going quite far, because sometimes you do, like I busted a tyre on the way to an IVF appointment, which was very annoying. I didn't actually claim for that, but technically it could cover that. Parking, any parking at hospital is extortionate if you ask me. Or if you're getting a taxi, if the buses don't run to the places you need to go and you can't drive, or buses or whatever you need, it covers you to go to the appointments that you would not have had if you weren't pregnant. You're not going to get all your petrol paid for the entirety of the pregnancy. That's not how it works. But I think some people worry that that's what we're doing, and it's not. It's just that obviously we wouldn't be going to the doctors, we wouldn't be going to the hospital, we wouldn't be going to the scan appointments if we weren't pregnant, unless we were very weird and had some problems. Some people do claim for a gardener because they can't physically do gardening, especially single mums and stuff like that. They have literally not got the ability to do that, and if it's a job they normally do and they no longer can do it, you might pay someone to come in and just sort your garden out in the summer months, or you could just be pregnant over winter and then don't need to worry. Kennels, if you are stuck in hospital. Kennels and catteries can come in. Again, it's a very rare one. Not many people claim for a kennel, cattery or gardener, but technically you could. And again, if you're in a certain situation that worked for your life, it could happen. Some people do claim treats for their kids, because obviously when you're pregnant and you're sick and you're tired and you're exhausted and you're grumpy and you're not physically able to do stuff, if the only thing you get to do is take your kids to soft play for like 20-30 quid, then again, I don't see why people would kick off about that. It's not like you're doing it weekly, but hey, maybe I'm different because I am a surrogate. I might be biased. Utilities, gas, electric and water. Again, it's only a couple of quid a month, but they do go up. And I did actually post letters proving that, because about 3 months, I think it was 3-4 months after I'd had the baby, I got letters from all of my boards saying, oh, your expenses dropped. And I didn't claim for anywhere near as much it had dropped. So probably should have upped that, but I didn't. Chiropractor or physiotherapy, if you do have complications like sensory processing, symphysis pubis dysfunction, both known as SPD. And as said, some people have a post-birth break, but not everyone does that. Now, if you took the average amount, as said before, and everyone claimed for all of those things, took the average amount, you're looking at about £29,000, which is crazy large, and no one I know claims that. Now, what I did want to say about cleaner, that is the one that I have gotten so much abuse over, saying that some surrogates use a cleaner. Now, I did say if you used a cleaner in the last video, if you used a cleaner every week, then yes, it would cost a couple of grand. However, like, no one does that. But if you're a single parent, this is the thing that I just wanted to get across. If you're a single parent and you have hyperemesis gravidarum and you are hospitalised, you cannot clean your house because you literally cannot lift your head up off a pillow. And I know quite a few surrogates have had this. With IVF medication, it can make sickness an awful lot worse. I had it myself. I was incredibly sick, and my husband picked up a majority of the housework because he was willing to do it. I physically could not for some weeks, not the whole time, but a lot early on and a lot at the end. I was unable to do anywhere near as much as I did. I did as much as I could because I'm house proud and that was my thing, and no one was taking that away from me. I was so determined, but I still couldn't do all of it. And so my husband was having to work a full week and then come home and taking on a lot more responsibilities. Now, if you are willing to claim for it and your IPs are willing to cover it, you can actually get a cleaner. And I did have a one-off clean at the end of the pregnancy where I had a cleaner come in and just clean my house because I gotten so far behind, and Darren just did not have enough time because he was cooking, because I couldn't cook because I was being so sick throughout the whole pregnancy. And it's not fair on him to have to come in and do so much extra work around the house because I'm sick and I physically couldn't do it. So in those situations, some surrogates do get a cleaner. But again, it's like once a month, maybe a couple of times at the end of pregnancy. That is the average. You don't have people very often that claim one every week. I'm just saying if you did, it could account for a couple of thousand. And a lot of us probably should if you were doing it in that way. Like, real IPs for most part would not begrudge a surrogate having a cleaner if they were so busy hugging a toilet and vomiting only because they were pregnant with your baby. Most of the IPs I know would be like, dude, I'd totally pay for that. I'd come around and clean their house myself if it was a possibility. It's not that we're trying to take advantage. We're not taking the mick. I don't allow anyone in my surrogacy groups to take advantage of people knowingly. I'm not having it. But at the same time, expenses aren't just black and white. If you sit down and added all of those together, and I would absolutely love it if someone did do that and was like, holy moly, it's thousands. How, what, why, and it clocked on someone's head, in someone's head. I'm not speaking very well today. That would be great. But equally, some of you, it won't cost that much because you have different lives. But rather than being irate that it wouldn't cost you that much to do this, think about the fact that not everyone is you. Some people are single parents who are solicitors with very well-paid jobs. Some people have a husband and several children, one of which is special needs. So you can't just use a bog standard babysitter. You do have to sometimes pay extra for things because of that. Does that mean I shouldn't help as a surrogate? Maybe. I shouldn't help you specifically have a problem with it, but if the IPs are okay with it and the surrogate is being honest and lays it all out there, then fine. I've offered to send my IPs receipts for anything. I've happily screenshotted anything and everything because there should be trust there. It's such an integral part of having a decent match in this country is trust. So if anyone does have any questions or queries, if I've forgotten anything, you're like, well, you didn't explain this. I've realised the time now is 14 minutes, so I do want to stop ASAP. Right, I don't know if I explained this well. Do leave me a comment below and let me know. If you've got any subjects you'd like me to cover in surrogacy, any specific area of expenses or laws or parental orders or how it works or any experiences you would like me to explain on camera, do let me know below. If you've got any great stories to share, please do share them, and I'm going to hopefully start my surrogate stories soon. On a Wednesday I have another surrogate where I will maybe relate their story on here, or it will be on my Facebook page. They're going to share their stories and talk you through their experiences in the world of surrogacy, and all the links again will be down below in the drop bar. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye.